Trudy MacDonald, who is the Managing Director of Talent Code HR, an award-winning presenter, a really interesting expert on leadership and helping teams thrive by having the systems and the culture in place to really support teams and leaders to deliver the very best for the business.
I'm very fortunate my work has taken me all over the world, and I've had exposure to incredible leaders and incredible organisations that have really fueled my passion for building high-performance organisations, building high-performance teams, and supporting leaders on that journey.
I've always got my finger on the pulse in terms of what leaders are talking about and their biggest challenges. Right now, boards are putting a lot of pressure on CEOs to take performance to the next level. We've got through this period, and let's get on with it, right? And subsequently, CEOs are needing to lead differently. However, what's happened in the last few years is, with good intentions, a lot of leaders have just rolled up their sleeves and got in with the troops to help them do their jobs. So what's happened is what I refer to as role compression. A lot of leaders are doing many elements of the roles of other people, and subsequently that cascades right down through the organisation. So what it means to be leading in today's era is very different to what it was a few years ago.
The intersection between who we are at home and personally, and our goals and our aspirations and our stresses, and how that relates to the workplace has become so much more intimate than what it was previously. Relationship building is right at the core of what it means to be an effective organisation, to be a high-performance team, and ultimately for individuals to feel valued and appreciated in the workplace.
What I'm hearing from leaders right now is my teams are burnt out. I'm hearing from leaders that they personally are burnt out. And this is really challenging in an environment where leaders have got more pressure than ever before to drive results, to drive accountability, and really to get their team on the bus.
When I talk about structure, it's everything from role clarity at the highest level. What does my role look like? What does responsibility look like for me in my role? How does that cascade up to the team level? How does that cascade to the organisational level? Right through to how do we hold each other accountable? How do we give each other feedback? And at the most simple level, when are we meeting and what are those meetings about?
One of the key takeaways I find really powerful to understand is that accountability done well is not punishment.
If we fall into the trap of being too structured and giving people too much clarity, the downside of that is people may feel as though they don't have the autonomy to do things in the way that they want to do. So there's risk of micromanagement, and that's particularly demotivating for people. So what I recommend is we create guardrails so that people are aligned, they know what the goals are, but we don't want to be so structured that we're telling people what to do every step of the way.
How do we bring the team together, have the honest conversation about how we're feeling, be really honest about where we need to go, and then ask ourselves, how do we do this? And how do we support each other?
I like to use the analogy that it's a little bit like being a GP. So if a patient comes to a GP, they've got a symptom.
Yeah.
And what a good GP will do is ask a whole lot of questions to diagnose the root cause of the symptoms. It's the same in leadership. So one of the most powerful skills we can have, or the superpower we need to obtain, is that of questioning and listening.
Yeah.
And then with all the information, we can start to take the conversation forward.
With the pressure leaders are under to drive performance, and now we've got this really interesting balance where leaders need to have empathy, but they need to drive accountability. And that's a really tricky combination to have.